Hi there vinyl community, sorry it's been a little while since my last video, it's about a month actually. I seem to be doing one every month of all the new stuff that I'm getting hold of, so I'm going to continue with that today. So this is, what is it, 7th of July, something like that, and this is what I've picked up since the last video, which was about a month ago. I haven't done any reviews for a little while. I'm happy to do some. If there's any albums that I look at today that you'd like me to talk in a bit more detail about and give you my opinions on, then that'd be great. That's fine. Just leave a comment and I'll do that. So, about 3 days after I uploaded my last video, which was, I think it was my recent editions, but there was also one that I did recently for coloured vinyl. Should have waited a week for it because this special edition one came out in a shop called HMV. That's HMV there. It's a high street store in England. I don't know if you get it in the States or anything like that, but yeah, they did like their own kind of version of Record Store Day with a few limited things, and one of the things they did was Everything Must Go by the Manic Street Preachers. Now, I've already got 2 copies of this on vinyl. I've got an original one, and I've got the 20th anniversary box set thing that came out, I don't know, about a month ago, 6 weeks, 2 months even. I did a review of that, so if you want to see the unboxing and the review of that, then by all means go and have a look, just look through my videos. So I got another copy of it. Now there's some artists, everybody's got them I'm sure, and I'd love to know who yours are. There's some artists that people need to have everything by, and for me it's the Manics, always, apart from the football song they did recently, which is rather terrible, and David Bowie. Now Bowie's a bit tricky because his stuff existed 20 years, 30 years before I was born, so I'm working my way through that and getting all that stuff. But for the Manics, I'm getting it as it comes out. So the reason that I got this one, see it's got a little sticker that says limited to 1 per customer. The reason I got this one is because it's a very limited edition. I think they did 5,000 or 1,000, maybe just 1,000 on blue vinyl. Look at that, awesome. So they've recreated the original labels. They've gone for this kind of sky blue, which is fairly close to the cover. Now this didn't come easy, I have to say. They opened the doors at 9 o'clock, and I think most of the stores up and down the country had enough people waiting outside them to snap them all up. And they did some other things as well. I think they had a Clash one, they had a Sex Pistols one, and so forth. I don't really live near enough one of the stores. I've got 2 young kids, so I couldn't really get to one of the stores on the morning. So I was really counting on the internet. So I logged on. They had some on the website. I got one into my basket. I was just about to pay for it, and the whole thing crashed. So despair, utter despair and dismay. However, my good friend Pete, who lives up north in the Midlands, was, I think, at the Sheffield store, which is in a shopping centre called Meadowhall. I think that's right, Pete. Let me know if not. And Pete, amazingly, picked me a copy up. It says limited to 1 per customer, but he was with his wife, girlfriend, wife. You don't have to correct me if I'm wrong there, I'm sure you'll tell me about it via text message. But he picked one up for me, which was an amazing gesture, and you know, I PayPal'd the money across and he popped it straight in the post. But that is because of Pete. So Pete follows me on Twitter. I can't remember his tag now, but I'll put a little thing on the screen now if I can remember how to do it. That's there now, hopefully, I don't know, somewhere. If not, I'll put it in the comments or in the description so that you can all go and find Pete and give him accolades, because he's an amazing guy. I can't wait to see him this summer. So, about a week after that, it was Father's Day, and my wife said to me, what do you want the kids to get you? Bearing in mind they're 2 and 5. What do you want the kids to get you? Oh, well, what do I want the kids to get me? Imagining homemade cards, or, you know, a bit of snot on an old teddy bear, I don't know. But they got me the Pet Sounds, the reissue. They redid this very recently. They did a mono version and they did a stereo version as well from the original tapes. I don't think there's a digital step in this, I think it's all analog. So I wanted the mono one. Now my wife guessed correctly in getting me the mono one, so very well done, although this is from the kids of course. And yeah, I wanted the mono one because it's kind of like the original release was, although I would be very interested to hear the stereo version just as a comparison. So it comes with a, oh, awesome. It comes with a download card. I didn't even know that. That is getting downloaded today, put on a CD and listened to in the car tomorrow. absolutely fantastic. So they've recreated the old Capitol. It's not exactly the same as the old Capitol. Sorry about that, got slightly distracted. So where was I? Yes, I was talking about the pet sounds very briefly. So yeah, it's beautiful. It looks amazing. You get a download card. You should go and get that if you like the Beach Boys. If you haven't already got it, I've got quite an extensive Beach Boys collection up here, which is growing now, obviously. And it's yeah, they're a wonderful band. Underrated, I think, actually. The next one I've got, following on from the last video I did, is the next one of Pink Floyd's, the reissues. This is the third album. It's a soundtrack from a film called More, and is, what is it, 1967, 68, something like that. Doesn't say on it, obviously. That would be too easy if it did that. But it's very much in the vein of the other ones. So we've got black in a bag, a Columbia logo. I've actually borrowed this from a friend, but I love it, so I've ordered myself a version. It should be here very soon. But yeah, it's very kind of my friend Russ to lend me this. It sounds amazing. The remastering quality is fantastic. If there's a digital step in there, I can't tell. Song-wise, we've got lots of Roger Waters kind of songs, ballad-style songs on the first side, and on the second side, it's much more instrumental, instrumental film soundtrack music. But I think it's fantastic. There are some odd moments in there. I don't think it's their creative best album, but it's something that I've really enjoyed listening to, and it's something that I was new to as well. I've not been exposed to this album before, so that one's worth getting hold of. I went to a wedding, a family wedding, a couple of weeks ago in a place called Brighton in England, if you're familiar with it. And so while I was down there, I did pay a little visit to a shop called Bella Union, which is a record label, Bella Union, and they've got a little shop in Brighton which only stocks their stuff. So it's not got a lot of stock in there, but it's very nice. It's lit out. I got myself a copy of John Grant's first album, Queen of Denmark. So it's on gatefold. It's on double 180 gram. There's no download code or anything like that, but I'm not too fussed because it's just a bloody brilliant album. I've already got the CD, but I hadn't got the vinyl, so I just popped in to get a copy of this, really. I did actually pop in the morning and they were closed, so I popped in later in the day, and I did mention that when I was going. I wasn't complaining or anything. I just said, "Oh, I'm glad you're open. I did pop in earlier and you weren't." And the chap gave me a free bag, not a plastic one. He gave me a tote bag. Now, if you're a Twitterer and you follow me on Twitter, you'll have seen that I've posted that already. So yeah, really chuffed with that. So after I got that, I went off into Brighton for a few hours with my wife. We did a bit of clothes shopping, had some lunch. I popped into 2 record shops, a couple of really great suggestions from on Twitter. So the first record I got, a couple of jazz ones, I got a bit of Coleman Hawkins. It's on MFP, so it's not a really expensive label, but it's a fairly thick record, so it's before they started cutting corners. And it's, yeah, just vintage Hawk. It's a kind of compilation of Coleman Hawkins, which I haven't got a lot of. And that's great. It needs a little bit of a clean. I paid £1 for it, so I'm more than happy with that. A great little purchase, happy with that. And the other one I got was this. I've actually got a copy of this already, but it's really scratched up and it's almost unplayable. I mean, there's a couple of tracks which are okay, but not the majority. Whereas this one is pretty clean. From the same shop, £1. On Verve, Count Basie and Ella Fitzgerald. Count Basie is my favourite big band leader of the big band era, and Ella Fitzgerald is one of my favourite jazz singers. Her and Sarah Vaughan. Of that particular era, I really enjoy. So this, arranged by Quincy Jones. What an absolute monster! Quincy Jones is a monster. Yeah, so you know, 3 big names on this album. On Verve, it's got the iconic Verve label there. And I just, you know what, for £1, I'm not going to complain. This doesn't need cleaning. I've played this and it plays beautifully. £1. There's more than £1's worth of music on there, ladies and gents, I have to say. So I was in Bristol, which is maybe an hour's drive from where I live, down in Wiltshire, the other day for work-related business, and I popped into a record shop very briefly. I've got to stop buying records. This is becoming silly, but I bought myself a copy of the Radiohead, the new Radiohead album, which is called A Moon-Shaped Pool. It looks like this. This is not going to be a particular review. I think the album's great. It's a grower for me. It's growing on me currently. This is being played almost constantly. But I'm really enjoying it, and I just think it's beautiful. It really is a grower. They did a special edition of it, which came in like a book, a thread-bound book, like old 78s would. You know, if you went and bought a collection of the Berlin Philharmonic doing Shostakovich symphonies or whatever, there would be a kind of a big fat book, and they did kind of an old school style. They did a book like that with 2 LPs and some CDs. Oh, and a little bit of 1/4-inch tape. I think like that much 1/4-inch tape from one of their sessions in the last 10 years. I thought it was a cool touch. The tape just degrades after a while anyway, so it's useless. So they gave it to fans, and that's quite cool. You know, nobody's ever going to be able to hear a piece of tape that long, because what kind of tape players can you get that spool a bit of tape that big?